All right, let's talk about Christmas, but not the one you think you know.
What?
We're going to unwrap a story that's been hidden for centuries, a story buried right under the tree, just beneath all the twinkling lights and festive cheer. This is the forbidden history of Christmas.
What do you mean?
So, let me ask you something. What if I told you that once upon a time in America, celebrating Christmas wasn't just, frowned upon, it was an actual crime?
No way.
I mean, a real punishable offense.
Wow.
Can you imagine getting arrested for singing a carol or hanging a wreath? It sounds totally made up, right? Well, it was very, very real. Back in 1659, in the Massachusetts Bay Colony, if you were caught showing any kind of Christmas spirit, we're talking feasting or even just taking the day off work,
Got slapped with a fine of 5 shillings.
now that was a lot of money back then. So the big question is,
Why?
why on earth would anyone want to outlaw Christmas? And here's the twist, the part that blows your mind. This war on Christmas wasn't some secular movement.
What do you mean?
Oh no. It was led by the church itself, the most devout Christians around at the time, the Puritans. They were convinced the holiday had absolutely nothing to do with their faith. And, in a way, they were totally right.
What?
So, to really get why the Puritans were so against it, we've got to jump in our time machine and go way, way back. Back to the wild, chaotic, and completely pre-Christian parties that used to happen in the dead of winter. See, our whole idea of Christmas is, peaceful, family-focused, maybe a little religious. Its ancient ancestors, they were the exact opposite. You had the Roman festival of Saturnalia, which was basically a week of complete lawlessness, where social order was just flipped on its head, and up north, the Norse celebrated Yule by burning these massive logs to beg the sun to come back. These were loud, wild, drunken festivals, and they were 100% pagan. And the Puritans knew all this. They'd done their homework. A famous minister, Increase Mather, he wrote that they just saw Christmas as the heathen Saturnalia metamorphosed, or, shapeshifted, into a Christian holiday. It was just a costume change. And this transformation, it was no accident. It was a calculated, strategic move by the early church. This whole thing, it wasn't just some quiet spiritual shift. It was one of the most brilliant marketing campaigns in human history. I mean, think about it. The early church had a huge problem. How do you get tons of people to convert when they're already super attached to their awesome winter parties? The answer was simple. If you can't beat them, join them.
In the 4th century, Pope Julius I makes this game-changing decision.
He officially declares December 25th as the date of Jesus' birth, calling it the Feast of the Nativity.
By the authority vested in me, I declare that December 25 shall.
Here's the thing.
The Bible never, ever mentions a date for Jesus' birth.
December 25th, it just so happened to line up perfectly with Saturnalia and all those other pagan solstice festivals. It was a genius move to basically absorb all that party energy and point it towards Christianity instead. But, you can't just flip a switch and erase centuries of tradition. The rebrand didn't quite take. For hundreds of years, through the Middle Ages, Christmas stayed this rowdy, carnival-like free-for-all. They'd name a lord of misrule, and the poor would basically go wassailing, going door to door to rich people's houses, demanding their best food and booze. So yeah, not exactly a silent night. But the rebranding campaign was far from over, because over the next few centuries, the holiday's main character, its biggest star, was about to get the most dramatic makeover of all. You know who I'm talking about.
Santa Claus.
The whole story starts with a real person, believe it or not, Saint Nicholas, a kind bishop in 4th century Turkey who was famous for giving secret gifts. His story eventually turned into the Dutch legend of Sinterklaas, which came to America with immigrants. Then, in 1862, a cartoonist named Thomas Nast drew him as a tiny little elf. But the big one, the image of Santa that's burned into all of our brains, that was locked in for good in 1931, not by a church, but by the Coca-Cola Company. I mean, just look at the difference. This really shows the final incredible makeover. The older versions were sometimes this gaunt, almost spooky-looking elf, and that was completely replaced by the warm, jolly, and pleasantly plump Santa created by an illustrator named Haddon Sundblom for Coca-Cola's ads. And just like that, a friendly, global corporate icon was born, and the image of Santa was set in stone, forever. So all of this brings our whole journey full circle, from a banned pagan party to a globally recognized brand. And it all leads us to one last big question. Seriously, think about it. When you look at its roots as a tool to convert pagans, its reinvention as a cozy family holiday, and its absolute perfection as a commercial giant in the 20th century, what are we really celebrating? Is it a holy day, or is it the most successful marketing campaign of all time? It's definitely something to think about. All right, so were you paying attention? I hope so. Let's do a quick quiz to see what you remember. Just 3 questions. Ready? Question number 1. What was that fine for getting caught celebrating Christmas in 1659 Massachusetts? The answer is 5 shillings. Okay, question 2. The modern jolly image of Santa Claus that we all know and love was made famous in ads for which company? That would be the Coca-Cola Company. And for the final question, what was the name of that wild, ancient Roman festival of lawlessness and social reversal that Christmas was scheduled to replace? The answer is Saturnalia. So there you have it, the secret forbidden history of Christmas. Hope you learned something new to think about this holiday season.
They told us it was holy. They told us it was light. Candles in the window, with shadows in the night. Smiles drawn in gold and red, while the truth was locked away. Every question never asked was buried deep in gray.
They said don't look behind the door, don't ask what came before. If you doubt, you disappear, your name erased unheard.
This wasn't always innocent, this joy was built on fear. A celebration painted bright to hide the truth beneath the years.
They said forgive, they said believe. They said don't dig too deep, but buried truths don't stay asleep.
The past still breathes, it still speaks.
Before the bells and winter snow, before the red and white, there were fires in the forest, praise to stars and night. Gods of earth and turning sun, dancing through the flame. Then they called it sin and crime and burned the old away.
They wrote the law in sacred ink and named it righteous cause. If you celebrated freely, you stood against their laws. This wasn't always innocent, this joy was built on fear. A celebration painted bright to hide the truth beneath the years.
They said forget, they said believe. They said don't dig too deep, but buried truths don't stay asleep.
The past still breathes, it still speaks.